everybody, and welcome to Week 9 of Pinto's Preview here on KFGO.com. This week, NDSU will be taking on the Missouri State University Bears, and Missouri State comes in with a record of 3-6, but they've won their last 3 games, conference games in fact, against pretty good opponents, especially Illinois State. South Dakota and Western Illinois, not that good, but Missouri State has been impressive in those wins. For NDSU last week, it was a come-from-behind win against Southern Illinois at home, and a big win at that. They needed that win to keep pace with Indiana State and South Dakota State near the top of the Missouri Valley Conference standings. So, let's get into the 3 points as to why and what NDSU needs to look for in this game. First point I'd like to make is NDSU needs to create turnovers. Right now, Missouri State sits at -11 in the turnover margin. They have 18 interceptions, 12 of them thrown by a University of Missouri transfer quarterback, Austin Glasser. Now, NDSU's defense is able to do that, create turnovers. You put your offense in a position where they can score quickly. Next thing you know, you're up 14-0. Missouri State doesn't know what to do against a defense that has hardly allowed any points this season. So NDSU, with a team that turns the ball over a lot, they'll have the opportunity to create turnovers and get out to a big lead in this game. And the second point I'd like to make is look out for Missouri State and their confidence in this game. The reason being is Missouri State is one of only 3 teams in the Missouri Valley to have 2 or more conference wins against the Bison. The other thing I want to say is that Missouri State coming in with a 3-game winning streak, a lot of confidence in this team, and they know they can beat NDSU, especially down in Springfield, Missouri. NDSU, they might be looking forward. They have 2 very tough opponents coming up after Missouri State and South Dakota State and Illinois State. But Missouri State is tough in their own right. One of the main reasons is they've been able to create turnovers on defense. If NDSU, which they do a very good job of, holds on to the ball, then Missouri State is not going to have an easy time of creating momentum. But if Missouri State comes up with maybe a stop here or there and scores early in this game, the confidence along with that momentum, it could be a struggle and an uphill battle for the Bison in Springfield. The third and final point I'd like to make is the emergence of the backup wide receivers for NDSU. Guys like Andrew Oakland and Nate Moody have really stepped up their game. Nate Moody did it against South Dakota. Oakland did it against Southern Illinois. Zach Vra out with a separated shoulder. Ryan Smith out with a bad hamstring and some concussion-like symptoms, although he came back last week. This has allowed NDSU, for those guys farther down on the depth chart, to really show that they have the talent and the ability to play at this level. That only helps out NDSU's depth as the season goes on, and also helps out Brock Jensen's confidence in his receivers and his ability to maybe throw to anyone who's open, and just makes it tougher for any secondary facing the Bison this season. And now finally for my prediction. I think NDSU is going to win this one big. I think it's going to be a 41-6 victory for NDSU. I think Missouri State's offense cannot move the ball against this defense. They turn the ball over too many times, so that'll be an issue for them. And I think NDSU's offense is starting to find some rhythm, not only in the passing game, but I think last week the running game really showed that they're ready to emerge. Big game maybe from Sam Ujiri coming or Crockett. If they start to get healthy as this goes on, it's going to be really tough for teams to stop them defensively running the ball. So I think NDSU wins this one big, 41-6. Now, as we go forward in this season, I want you guys to pay attention to things that are happening on KFGO.com that I'm doing personally. We've got Pinto's podcast, which I started last week against Southern Illinois. This week we interviewed a guy from the Springfield News Leader by the name of Lindahl Scranton. That podcast is up on KFGO.com. You got to check that out. Really good insight into what Missouri State has been doing as a football team so far this season. And I'll continue to do that as the season goes on, even into the playoffs. Also, check out my column, My Thoughts Exactly. This week upcoming, I put it out every Tuesday. I will be previewing the NDSU men's basketball team. I'll get a chance to see them play some exhibition games this weekend. And I'll give you my take on where this team is going, a team picked to finish second in the Summit League. So check out those things on KFGO.com. And speaking of KFGO.com, for Pinto's Preview, I'm Daniel Gunderson.